level of integration that no one's achieved before. Some of you may have been in Matthew Taylor's session. He asked, what should we achieve in the first 6 months? I would very much hope we can remove any fear, distrust, suspicion, and replace it with high levels of trust, so that over the coming months and years, we achieve a level of collaboration which transcends individual organisational boundaries, where our common focus on what is right for the residents whom we serve or represent, well, we all serve them, but some are elected to represent them, our concern for that means we work together in such ways which we don't think about what bit is our organisation or that, but where we, as an ICS, have that common purpose and common focus that goes so far further and enables everything to happen. Where we as a system think about people from the earliest days of their lives, because in those very first 5 years will have major impacts on the educational and life achievements they will make. Where we see them as they go through the schooling and adolescent years, ever more exposed to the issues that will create mental weakness, mental illness, mental frailty, or whatever, however you wish to phrase that. And we are addressing them where we can to avoid crisis. Where the community takes on its understanding of what it can do to help people live in healthy ways, as we've seen in parts of this system with the work around physical activity. Where then they work with primary care to achieve outcomes at the primary care level which reduce the demand on our acute hospitals. And if we are ever going to see the resource transfer that people desire, so that it truly does come in those early stages in prevention and early intervention, then it must be because we have systems which overcome the ever-growing burdens that our acute hospitals face. But then beyond that, that we as a system are thinking about those who live with disabilities at working age or childhood, those who have disabilities which emerge as they grow into older age, or who are just getting old. And I don't know the numbers for Suffolk, Andrew, but I do know that for Essex, we expect the number of 80-year-olds to grow by 60% and the number of over 90-year-olds to double in the next 15 years. And where that happens, only will we be able to have viable systems where we are working together as that system, in unity of purpose, in collaboration at all times, disagreeing where need be, but disagreeing healthily, and always disagreeing with a view to how we reach those common goals. And so it was highly imaginative of Will Pope as the ICS chair to say, let us personify the partnership that we want to be. Let us identify that that is so important. And therefore, I, as the ICB chair, this is Will speaking, recommend that the three of us, the Health and Wellbeing Board Chair for Suffolk, that for Essex, and Will himself, should jointly chair these meetings. And you will have us on rotation, and we'll see how that works, but it is absolutely a manifestation of Will Pope's commitment to true partnership working, and for that, Will, I know Andrew and I both thank you.
Thank you, John.
Are there apologies, Susanna, from people who are potential members of the Integrated Care Partnership?
There are a number of apologies, but probably we'll go through those later on once we've identified the new nominees who are here. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you very much, Susanna. So I'm now going to turn to Andrew, who is going to take us through the Memorandum of Understanding, which is here to enable us to begin our work together over the early months. It may be subject to later amendment, and the terms of reference for the Integrated Care Partnership. Andrew.
Thank you very much, John. And for those who've been here through the day, I think we're off to a very good start. And I'm very pleased to see you all. And thank you very much for agreeing to come to this final meeting of the day. And good afternoon to all nominees of the newly created Integrated Care Partnership for Suffolk and North East Essex, and indeed members of the public who may be attending. So as co-chair, I've been asked this afternoon to provide that brief introduction to the new ICP's Memorandum of Understanding in Terms of Reference. It's been issued to all potential members of the by the Programme Office for our approval today. So in presenting this to you, you'll be glad to hear mercifully briefly, there are a number of key aspects that I'd like to highlight. Now, the version submitted for approval today remains in draft, and it's pending further consideration of guidance on the role of ICPs, which is expected from the Department of Health and Social Care later this month. Good timing. Now, while this makes the process of finalising this key document by nature iterative, it is reflective of what is a necessary transitional period over the next months and year. This Memorandum of Understanding in Terms of Reference will, of course, be subject to continual review. And the first date, I believe, is set for later this summer, once we've had sight of that national guidance, and after which it will come back to the ICP. Now, although the content was initially drawn from the existing guidance about the role of ICPs from the new Health and Care Act, it has been further shaped by local discussion and by local stakeholders over the last few months, and in particular with input from both county councils and the NHS. The proposed membership structure takes a very inclusive approach, building on the work and membership of the previous ICS board, but is also enhanced with positive input with people with lived experience and especially with clinical and professional expertise. This has generated a potentially large membership of the committee at more than 60 people. This will require us to collaborate to ensure we adopt from the outset inclusive methods of working together. We will be operating beyond the limits of more formal traditional meetings alone, and this will have its learning challenges. But this will allow us to be in a much better place than the alternative, and therefore we will avoid difficulties some of our peers may develop in generating different tiers of members or excluding a specific number of partners who are keen to be part of the ICP. Our principal focus on improving population health and reducing health inequalities, supported by an outcome-based approach, can only be served by working together as equal partners with a strong commitment to serving our residents' needs. There are challenges ahead, but if we build on the good work to date with that shared commitment, we will succeed. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Andrew, and very fully put. So we are being asked here to approve the terms, so the Memorandum of Understanding and Terms of Reference as they stand at this stage, in the knowledge that further amendment may be required in the light of guidance coming. Are there any questions or discussion from the room?
Don't see any, John.
And therefore, in your role as potential members of the partnership, are you content to agree? All agreed?
Lots of nods.
Yes. For those of us, when you're coming to meetings that I'm chairing in future, I know my eyes move about, but actually they're purely decorative. They haven't functioned for 30 years, and so you will find on future occasions audible assent or negativity will be required. I've not quite learned how to see a nod, but Will helped out on this occasion, so you're all right. We'll consider that approved. We now come to consider the question of the membership of this partnership board, and I'll hand over to Will.
Thank you very much, John, for that. Now, we debated long and hard between us, noting, as John did just note, there are over 60, the membership of the ICP is over 60 people. We debated whether we should just say, well, you've all had it in the pack, and it's up on the screen that's too small to read behind us. Should we just say yes? But then we thought, or no, indeed, but then we thought, actually, we think we've got to do it properly, and therefore I'm going to read out the name and the source of that nomination. So forgive me, it won't quite be 60 because there are still some to be confirmed. So there'll be a bunch. So with many apologies for this, we think this is the right governance way to do it, which will also enable Susanna then to give apologies, because of course, if you hadn't agreed to somebody attending, it'd be tricky to receive their apologies, wouldn't it? It's a complicated world, this setup stuff, isn't it? Anyway, so here we go. So first of all, as you know, and as John has introduced, the County Council, two members nominated from the County Councils, the Chair of the Suffolk and Suffolk Health and Wellbeing Board and Chair of the Essex Health and Wellbeing Board, Councillor Andrew Reid and Councillor John Spence, as you know. And then from the Norfolk, Suffolk, NHS Suffolk and North East Essex ICB, the ICB Chair, myself, the ICB Chief Executive, Ed Garrett, and Director of Strategy and Transformation, Richard Watson. Public Health, the Director of Public Health Suffolk, Stuart Keeble, and Public Health Essex, Lucy Whiteman. Social Care, Director of Adult Social Care in Suffolk, Georgia Chimbani. Children's Social Care Suffolk, Alan Cadzo, and Director of Integration Essex, Peter Fairley. Director Children, Families and Education in Essex, Nikki O'Shaughnessy. From Healthwatch, Healthwatch Suffolk, Healthwatch Essex, the Chief Executives, Andy Yakub and Sam Glover. From NHS Providers, so ESNEFT, Nick Hume, West Suffolk Foundation Trust, Craig Black, NSFT, Norfolk and Suffolk NHS Foundation Trust, Kath Byford, and then we have two to be confirmed from EPUT and the ambulance service yet, so that's a work in progress. From our district and borough councils, we have 5 to be confirmed yet, from Ipswich Borough Council, Baber and Mid Suffolk, East Suffolk, West Suffolk and Tendring, and we have 1 nomination so far from Colchester Borough Council, Pam Donnelly. From the police, Suffolk and Essex, so from Suffolk Police, the Assistant Chief Constable Rob Jones, Essex Police, Detective Superintendent Leighton Hemmett. Social care providers, domiciliary and care homes, still to be confirmed. NHS England, Joan Skeggs, and the VCSE sector. First of all, the VCSE Assembly Chair, that post hasn't yet been appointed, so that's still going through a competition for the appointment of the Assembly Chair, so to be confirmed. For the hospices, Judy Newman, and CVS organisations, Sharon Alexander, Christine Abraham and Tracy Ruddling. And then for our VCSE sector providers and community funders, there are 4 posts still to be confirmed at the moment. Lived experience networks supported through Healthwatch, there are 3 places, all still to be confirmed. And then the medical member, the ICB Medical Director, Andrew Kelso, Nursing, Director of Nursing, Lisa Nobes. For the Allied Health Professionals, a representative still to be confirmed, the Mental Health Clinical Representative and the Professional Social Work Representative also still to be confirmed. We're getting there, onto the second page now. So primary care PCNs and LMCs. So for Suffolk LMC, Dr. Peter Smye and a second rep still to be confirmed. For Suffolk GP Fed, Ruth Bushaway, and for Essex LMC and North Essex GP Primary Care Choice, both still to be confirmed. For the LPNs, pharmacy, Paul Jewell, dentistry, Tom Norfolk, with a nominated deputy of Nick Barker, optometry, Rupal Patel Lovell. 2 academic institutions in our patch, the University of Essex, Pauline Milne, and the University of Suffolk, Paul Driscoll Evans. Safeguarding, the Suffolk Safeguarding Chair, Anthony Douglas, and the Essex Safeguarding Chair or chairs still to be confirmed. County Council elected members, so the UTLA elected members, Councillor Beverly Hopsonsberger, Councillor James Reeder and Councillor Beverly Egan. The ICS Chairs Group, Dr. Mark Shenton, and then getting close to the end now, place-based alliances, North East Essex Alliance, Laura Taylor-Green, Ipswich and East Suffolk Alliance, Maddie Baker-Woods, West Suffolk Alliance, Peter Whiteman, and then finally the ICP Secretariat, our ICP Director, Susanna Howard. And John, that is the list as we have it today. It's 66 in number, if and when complete.
Well, thank you, Will. Now, has anybody had their name read out who doesn't think they are going to be a member? Or is there anybody who thinks they're going to be a member whose name's not been read out? I ask myself.
Good one. Nobody's saying
Right,
anything.
we're feeling a high level of accuracy. So gold star to you, Will. Well done. Well done. We are required to approve this, so would you now like to please approve yourself as members of the ICP? Excellent, thank you very much. Susanna, could you give us the apologies, please?
So there's a number of apologies. So apologies from Stuart Keeble, Director of Public Health from Suffolk, from Lucy Whiteman, the new Director of Public Health in Essex, from Georgia Chimbarney, also from Pam Donnelly, and also Peter Smythe and Ruth Bushaway, from Anthony Douglas, and also from Councillor Becky Hopsonberger as well.
Becky's here.
Oh, is Becky here? Sorry, I do apologise, Becky.
Okay, nice to see you, Becky. And could also give a warm welcome to Bernard Jenkin MP. It's nice to have you here, Bernard, in the room with us. So thank you all very much. You could almost applaud yourselves for your election to this new status. But,
Well done, everybody.
we look forward together to climbing the Everest of collaboration. Okay, we're going to do it. I now turn to Susanna Howard to take you through arrangements for future meetings.
Thank you, John. So the schedule for future meetings is attached to the meeting papers. What we're aiming to do is to have a monthly meeting, but it will be a combination of formal meetings of the ICP, which will begin today and then will be on the 9th of September, the 11th of November, the 13th of January and the 10th of March. The location of those meetings will move around our 3 alliance areas, with the first of our 3 alliances, the meeting taking place in North East Essex in Tendring in September. On the intervening months, we've got work to do. We have to produce our first integrated care strategy by December this year. So we're going to be using the intervening months to do some workshop-style work together as a partnership to develop the early parts of that strategy. So those will be on the intervening months, which will be in August and October, in December and in February. So our slot as an integrated care partnership is the second Friday of each month, and we will use a combination of online and in-person to make those meetings accessible to such a wide partnership membership for the ICP.
Thank you very much. I must say, I think that feels a very sensible solution for 2 reasons. Firstly, I'm always concerned by the amount of work involved for the executive teams in preparing massive amounts of paper for monthly meetings. But secondly, in those workshop sessions, you know that a Friday morning is going to be the ICS, so it does give you a certainty, which obviates the need to move other things about. So well done, Susanna. I don't think there's any comment needed on that, but Will, you're going to talk to us about taking over actions from the previous boards.
Thank you, John. Yes, so this item I hope is straightforward. The backdrop to it, the background to it, is that the business of the ICP going forward will be a development of, no doubt maturing and improving and all that stuff, but nevertheless a development of the work of the ICS board, which of course has finished now. But it had an action log and it had brought forward items, and we couldn't see we thought the best place for those to go was to here, if you agree, to the ICP, and we couldn't see a reason to send them anywhere else, and we definitely couldn't see a reason to let them drop. So it seemed that the best proposal, subject to your agreement, is that we, and I therefore move, that we bring forward the ICS action log and the brought forward that we adopt them into the ICP, and then we'll receive it at the first meeting going forward, and then of course we'll develop our own action log and brought forward in the normal way. So the agreement, John, is simply to adopt the old ICS action log.
So we are asked to give agreement to this. It's been painted very clearly that there is no alternative, ladies and gentlemen, or else all the work that's gone on before it goes down the drain. Well, that's what you're really saying. So are we happy to adopt this action list? Thank you. Yep. That's very much. It says here now questions from the public, but I'm very happy to take questions from any of the newly approved members or from the public, whether in person to person or online. So can you indicate if you have any questions, please? Susanna will be my spotter.
I can't see any, John. No. Oh, there's one at the back there from Peter Smythe.
Peter at the back.
Yeah, I just wonder whether you consider the carbon footprint of a group like this in terms of traffic. Could you wait?
That's a very good point.
Yes,
Very good point. Others allowing virtual.
I wonder whether you consider the carbon footprint of the number of people here travelling across the county and whether that might feature in your future planning.
Thank you, Peter. We are required to meet in public, but that does not preclude hybrid meetings. So, Susanna, are we going to be requiring face-to-face attendance, or can meetings be hybrid?
Meetings can indeed be hybrid. In fact, we're streaming the meeting today. And if you look on, we've got a page set up on our ICS website for the ICP. And that has live streaming arrangements, and you can ask questions. So we're going to look at a hybrid if we can. One of the reasons for that is actually specifically because we've got such a broad membership, and actually, ironically, online is sometimes easier to manage a large number of people than if you can imagine trying to have a very large board table or something similar. However, it is thought that on occasions we do need to bring partners together, and that would be useful, particularly where there are more difficult issues to work through, and we need to spend time to do that. That's a good point, well made.
Thank you, Peter. Yes, online it can be very quick to get us into breakout groups and things, so I see that. Thank you. Thanks, Peter. Excellent. Other points? And please, it is your chance to help shape the way we operate.
Can't see any, John. No. Anything online? Nothing on the live stream.
Okay, you sure? Yeah. Is there any other business? I have not been notified of any, but is there any other business? The lure of the weekends having no influence at all. Well, I'd want to ask you, please, as one of the first minutes of this body now constituted, to register the thanks that we owe to Susanna, to Helen, to everybody else who has been involved in creating today. The workload involved in preparing for the integrated care systems launch was itself huge and onerous and complicated. You've heard about late drafts coming of guidance notes which continue to flow. To decide on doing that then to at the same time create an expo of such enormous dimensions, and I had a super time walking around the stalls earlier, Susanna, is... Well, it's probably something close to stupid bravery. Yes. Really. It's a bit like these people who take on ultra marathons one day a week for 7 days or something. I'm up for a month. Say, no, it's been terrific, and I've thoroughly enjoyed it. And I know from what I've heard going around, people have greatly valued the chance to visit the stalls, to network, to learn more from each other. So can you please convey to everybody involved the thanks that we owe to them for A, the work to get us to today for the ICS launch, and B, for creating such a spectacular event. And could you please, please try to have a rest over the weekend and not feel the need to send me another 10 emails, all right? That's fine. Or anybody else. Or anybody else. Right, in the absence of any other business, ladies and gentlemen, I thank you all very much for your attendance. We meet again on the 9th of September, and I look forward to seeing many of you there in person or on a virtual basis. And I do sincerely have the great joy in wishing you a safe journey home, something we had so little chances to do for 2 years, and have a wonderful weekend. And when you get there, a well-deserved rest over summer. Thank you very much.
Well done, John.